Good evening. Welcome back to another episode of It's a Football Thing. I'm taking this job tonight. It feels weird. We don't have RJ here. He's not feeling 100%. We hope you get better soon, mate. But in his stead, a man you know, a man you love, him and I, love, hate, mainly love. It's Borche from the football capital. How are you, legend?
I'm good, mate. I'm good. I'm surprised RJ's got sick now. I mean, watching Chelsea the whole season, I'm surprised he hasn't been away for a majority of the year. And it's funny, man. Like I haven't been on in a while, and the day Arsenal decide to throw it all away, you get me on. You know,
Worked out well.
but,
Worked out beautifully.
but on the flip side, I was kind of hoping that you guys will stop these three-peat treble. Unfortunately, you guys couldn't even help us out. But look, I'm happy to be here. Happy to see you boys. It's been a while. Robbie, we got half a smile back from the last couple of weeks. But I hope you boys have been all right. Have been good.
No, we're doing well, mate. Rob needs no introduction. Robbie, you're happy, mate. You kept the Wolves at bay. What's going on?
That's it, my important points is what we need right now, by hook or by crook. And look, I have to say it was on good. We might touch on it later on, but yeah, look, another week of football, and like everyone in football at the moment, we're just plodding along. We can see the light at the end of the tunnel, mate, and I think everyone's just trying to fall over it. It's a bit of football fatigue at the moment.
It is, man. Like, I don't know about you boys. As I said to Robbie before the stream, the title's gone, depression kicked in after the Liverpool, West Ham, Southampton games. Like, that was when mentally I'd gone the whole season with this little thing on in the back of my mind thinking, can we do it? Yeah, it's still too early. Shit, we're over halfway through the season now. Can we do this? And then we had that 11-point lead, and I'm thinking, oh, maybe we really can do this. And then this is what we do, man. The national media start talking about us. Pep starts doing I hate when Pep does this. He comes out and like praises and talks up the other team. He's talking us up. We start talking ourselves up. Some of our fan base just absolutely go mental, and boom, man, collapse. Just collapse. But we'll talk about Arsenal soon. Let's start with happy news, boys. Your team, you all keep telling me the Wolves are a bogey team. You've overcome the bogey team. Borch, talk to us about the performance and especially Garnacho. I want to hear about him.
Yeah, look, Wolves the last couple of seasons, it's usually a 0-0 or there's one goal in it either way, and there was guaranteed to be a David De Gea last minute 96-minute save. This time it wasn't to be honest, and I was a little bit surprised by Wolves because usually they come at us, and especially right at the end they put on Traore, maybe thinking that they could snatch something, and I was surprised that there wasn't tactically. They weren't really up for it in this one, but at the same time, I think performance-wise, to me, it was okay. But at this stage of the season, it's about the result. It's not about who. Like, to be honest, I couldn't care less how we played after losing in a 100th minute, whatever it was, to Brighton from that handball, and then losing to West Ham, back-to-back defeats. It was all about the 3 points. And look, yeah, it was good to see Garnacho come on. You know, he's been out for injury for a very long time, so just for him to come on and grab a goal, which kind of sealed the game towards the end, was good to see, and good for him as well. But overall, look, individually performances, I think Brune did well again in this game, but the 3 points is at this stage of the season where we've kind of bottled it ourselves a little bit, because in the position that we were compared to where Liverpool were now, we've thrown them back into the hunt for it. And I know we've won today or yesterday, and then the pressure is now on Liverpool, but really I think the pressure's on United, because I'm still a little bit worried too, to be honest.
I reckon you've done it personally. I think the teams in the top four, obviously Arsenal and City are done, but I think you guys in Newcastle stay. But Robbie, Garnacho, I know you rave about this kid because you and I have almost come to blows over this young fella before. We've had a couple of heated discussions. How high is his ceiling, man, and what impressed you most about his performance this morning?
Look, he's 18 years old, mate. So you have to say his ceiling's very high. He came out of the Atletico Madrid Academy. We bought him young. He's done very good in our youth department. Obviously, last year he headlined the FA Cup, the Youth FA Cup. He scored in the first team this year. So already at 18 years old, just being embedded in this conversation, I think is big for him. And if you look at his stats and goals to minutes throughout the season, he's scored winning goals this year. He's scored, or he's had big or very important cameos when he hasn't, one of those guys that start every week. He's probably started once every 5 times he's had a cameo kind of thing. But when he comes on, he's definitely made an impact. He's got an assist in an important game. He's got a goal in an important game. He's got 3 points later on against Fulham. Obviously, this week he put the nail in the coffin against Wolves. So he's definitely made an impact. Again, 18 years old. He's only just last week he's got his 5-year contract. So that's massive for him. And Ten Hag pretty much said, you've earned it, but now you got to show me that you want it. You got to be hungry. You want to be, if you want to be someone that's going to be remembered by the club, you got to go out and try and win trophies now. So look, his ceiling is high. He's got a lot of potential. He's got the flair. He's very good at taking players on. And you can nearly say compared to for someone like that who's come through and we haven't paid a mozza for, compared to a Jadon Sancho or even an Anthony, his numbers are the same, if not better than some of them.
When you compare it to the time he's played.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. So at the moment, again, he's I think it's hard to go out and just say I use that example of the Mudryk guy. Like these people that didn't even know who he was, they paid 100 million from the Ukrainian league, 9 goals in his whole career, and this guy, because they paid that, he's world class. I can't understand. People have a couple good games, not just him. I'm just using him as an example, and straight away they get world class status. He's got a lot of proven and a lot of everything to be done before he's even in a conversation of a good player in the Premier League, let alone the less. But again, his ceiling is as high as he wants it to be. He's got to be disciplined and he's got to perform with his feet on the field.
Borche, I want to stall from talking about Arsenal for as long as I can. I'm hoping that everyone forgets and we'll just end the stream. I asked Robbie's opinion on this last week. He gave his opinion. But curious to know from you, because we haven't had a chance to chat about this. Obviously, there's some stuff going on around the ownership of Manchester United and bids. And to be honest, I have not kept on top of it at all. I know there's 2 main bids.
Yeah,
I've got Robbie to give me just his quick views on the competing bids and where he's at with it. What are your views? What do you want to see? What's your ideal scenario for the ownership of Manchester United? And what do you think will happen?
Yeah, look, if people have been paying attention to my content, I haven't done one video on this ownership. For me, I knew that it was going to take this long and it was going to be, are they staying? Are they going? To me, it's all about them going at any cost, to be honest. Now, obviously, before the Qataris put their interest in, so maybe last year or maybe at the start of the season even, where it was only Jim Ratcliffe that was kind of interested after he didn't get the thing with Chelsea, because I know he put his interest in for the Chelsea gig, but I think he put it in late, maybe because there was a message maybe that he maybe was interested in another club. So you never know. But once the Qataris came in, and regardless of the money side, for me, when it comes to them, I like what they've put onto the table. For me, once I heard they want to come in and remove the debt, I wanted to cry. Like that for me is like to remove the debt from the club is probably one of my, it's probably at the top before the stadium, before the training ground, before anything else, before players coming in, for them to say we want to remove the debt is for me is number one. And if Jim Ratcliffe comes in, I haven't really looked into, to be honest. I just hear the news and that's it. I don't really look into it because I'm not interested till it's done, man, to be honest. But
fair shout.
With the Qataris, obviously I'd rather them, because if we don't get them, someone else will. And you don't want them going to another Premier League club, and then even though money wise United has the money to compete in terms of revenue, in terms of what they make from everything they do, it's the brand itself. But I just like what they stand for in terms of the football side. I don't know anything what they do behind closed doors or all that sort of stuff, but they got like a 92 Foundation or something like that. That's, you know, because they are United supporters, and they use that, like the class of 92 as some sort of foundation. So they are supporters. Now with Jim Ratcliffe, he does own a club in France. Is it Nice? Yeah,
Yep,
Nice. And how are they going? You know what I mean? Over there, it's like, it's, if you have money to spend, it's not that hard to make it or into the top 2 at least. You know what I mean? They've been struggling. What's their 10th, 11th in the league, and in the last couple of seasons, some of the other teams like Lille has ended up winning the league over PSG. And I don't know, the money that they've been spending, or the money that maybe Jim Ratcliffe does have to spend, he's not putting it in. Now maybe the project is probably different. Man United is a different beast, different name, and going into this, he knows kind of everything that needs to happen at United in terms of, yeah, you're not just paying 5 billion for the club. You're also going to go in, and there is also a debt. Is this going to be handled by someone else, or is there going to be a resolution, or for what do you call it, for the debt to go, or is it going to be taken on by you, or is there going to be another debt that's going to be put in place? Is the debt going to be paid off by another debt? So that's another thing that's a little bit confusing with him, and plus the training ground and all that sort of stuff. Well, you know, the Qataris do have that money to spend and are willing to spend. You see what they've done with PSG, okay, and even Manchester City, the Arab ownerships, okay, it doesn't guarantee success in terms of you're guaranteed to win trophies. Obviously, United spent how many? 10 million, a billion, sorry, 10 million, I wish, 1 billion. And look, you know, how many trophies we won in the last couple of seasons, or the last 10 years, let's just say. So, yeah, to be honest, at the moment, Scotty, it's you know, it still glazes out, but I'm not really paying attention because a lot of it's nonsense. A lot of clicks. And till that date, he says they're sold, then I'll make a video.
Fair shout, man.
Because at the moment, every week it's the same thing. They're close. There's a 3rd bid. There's a 4th bid, and this has happened and that has happened. When really, it's really nothing. And there's a deadline. What's the deadline? There's no official deadlines. It's just a deadline for the sake of having a deadline. So
it's a lot of speculation, and when there's this much speculation, it makes me more doubtful, to be honest, about what's really going on. Because
I do think that for the Glazers, just for them personally, it's probably the best time to sell, because no one else is coming in later giving you 5 billion. Because I think, yeah, that's what I meant. Like, if there was all
you're on an upward trajectory at the moment. You've got some good assets, some good young players. You've got a great manager. You're about to qualify for the Champions League again. This is the time to strike.
Yeah, exactly.
But look, speaking of time to strike, I can't put it off any longer. Let's talk about my team. Again, as I said to Robbie, the damage was done for me in the Southampton, West Ham, and Liverpool matches. That's where we really threw the lead. I've seen a lot of talk from the Arsenal fan base. I'm a bit of an outlier like this. I think it's a bit of life experience, and being a bit older and having seen us actually really win, and hearing how they sold all the stuff around moving from Highbury, which, you know, just phenomenal stadium. I wouldn't say we bottled the league, okay, but let me finish, because I know you might think we did. I don't think we bottled it. I think there is some pride we can take from this season, and the pride to me is in the growth. Okay, so in terms of where we were last season here and where we finished this season here, and all the things I've seen along the way, I've seen plenty of positives. I've seen Erdegaard really step up. I've seen some good signings be added to the squad. I've seen the resurgence of Granit Xhaka. Saliba coming in has been a success. There have been some really good narratives and some really positive points within our season. So as an Arsenal fan, I'm happy about those. We also met, and I said this to both of you boys on your couch, I said my minimum expectation was the Champions League. So we've met my minimum expectation. So talk about Arteta being sacked, I think is ridiculous. That's extreme. However, we had an 11-point title lead. We should have been in a position where we could have lost to Manchester City and still had points on them. So whilst I'm proud of all the growth and the achievements, like some of the personal stories, I find myself incredibly frustrated at the mental underlying of this squad. It happened last year with top four. We had a lead. It was in our hands. Got to crunch time, we collapse. It's happened again this season. We had a bigger lead. We only had one team really chasing us. And we collapsed. We collapsed and buckled when we shouldn't have. That's the part that frustrates me. That's the part where I wouldn't say bottle jobs, but I would say disappointment. And some of our fans are just trying to pretend that this is no problem. Like, this is all good. It's fine. No one expected us to be in a title race. Well, no one did. But if you're winning a running race that no one expected you to win, if I'm beating Usain Bolt in a race, I'm not going to sit down and take a break 5 meters from the finish line because no one expected me to win anyway. Like, I just think the mentality of some of our fan base is weak, and it's a positivity competition. Everyone wants to be the most positive fan. If someone's kissing your ass the whole time and telling you how good you are and how perfect you are, you're never going to improve. And this mental element to our squad is a recurring problem. God help them now when they have to play in the Champions League next season and there's more pressure. I don't know. I've spoken about this at depth, but Robbie, let's go to you. Obviously, you're probably enjoying the fact that we bottled it because of me, and it would have been painful, but I know you had a vested interest. You didn't want them doing a treble. What do you make of Arsenal's season? Why do you think this has happened?
Inexperience, you have to put it down to that. Youth, again, is there anyone maybe besides, I know Jorginho, he's won the Champions League, but how many winners is in that team? No one's won the how many have won the Premier League in that team? Zinchenko. Yeah.
And
Jesus, which came in this year. But, obviously you got, Arteta was under Pep when he won a few things there, but there's not enough. And you guys are a very young squad, a very talented squad. Look, for me, I do think you have bottled the league, but it's not a bad bottled way. You have to say expectations, because expectations, like you said, expectations for you at the start of the season was get top four. And for me, you've obviously exceeded your expectations. But when you're at a certain point of the season, let's say Christmas, with that much of a buffer, and obviously you're out of most of the cups, every time that you guys kept getting knocked out of a cup, this is good. We're going to concentrate once a week on win the league, which is a smart thing to do when in the position you're in.
If you win the league.
If you win. So for me, I think you guys have bottled a massive opportunity, because right now, if you were to ask me, I don't think you guys are going to be in the title race next year. I think this was the year to strike. I think, and it's not to say that City was having a bad year. I think you guys were having an amazing year. You guys exceeded where a lot of people thought you were going to be. So I think in that aspect, you guys bottled it because where you were, because how good football you guys played for consistently for the most of the season. I think you guys put yourself in a really to think there's still 3 games left of the season, and now for me it's over. This should have went down to the wire, considering the buffer you guys had. So yeah, it's disappointing for me, because I think City's going to win the treble. I've been saying that for the last month now. I don't see in any competition who's stopping them.
Borche, people talking about this young squad. You've got, Arsenal, we've got a young squad. We didn't bottle it. They're still developing. Be a real fan. You've got to back the youngsters. No one forced us to go and spend money on youngsters. No one forced us to renew Nketiah's contract, to give Smith Rowe, who I love, he's on the back of this kit, to give Smith Rowe the number 10. And no one has forced us to have the young squad. I find that an excuse and a cop-out, because no one's talking about young squad when they're doing well. It's only used as a bit of a shield. I'm hoping the young players grow through this experience, but I also said the same thing last season. Where do you see this going from here, Borche? And obviously, I know you would have enjoyed it because you're just that kind of bloke, mate.
Yeah, I don't know, man, because this treble is worrying me. If I could have my say now, I would love Arsenal to win the league, so they can stop that treble, because I don't back us stopping them in the FA Cup, and then I just have this feeling they're going to roll over Real Madrid for some reason. And then, the final, either Milan team. On paper, let's be honest, in reality, it doesn't look like the Milan team stand the chance. But hey, football is football, and we've seen worse things happen. We've seen Wigan beat Manchester City in the FA Cup, or was it years ago? But yeah, look, I don't know, Project Youth, man. They're calling him Mikel Jackson. He loves the youth. He's brought them in. So,
Jesus.
so I don't know, man. Like, no one. Like, I don't think the youth is a problem. To be honest, like they've been what do you call it? Like shoulder to shoulder with every other team. Like, let's be honest. Like besides the Man City games, and I reckon if the Queen didn't pass away and you guys did play City when you should have, I reckon it would have been a different game because the way you guys were playing, you guys were on a mad roll there, and then you just played them almost very close at the back end of the season where they were rolling, they were steaming, they were scoring 4 or 5 goals. I think every single week, just 4 goals for you, 4 goals for you. Haaland was just scoring 6 goals himself or 5 goals against RB Leipzig. Like they were just scoring goals from everywhere. And I just think if you guys played them when you should have, I reckon you would have got the points. And especially, I think that game might have been at home as well. And at the Emirates, every other big team that's come there, you've taken care of. So I don't think it's a youth problem or a young problem. My opinion, I said it in January. I'm like, we're gonna see how much your owners are backing this guy. I know he's had players, and I know he spent $500 million over the 3-4 years that Arteta's been there. But I would have spent the summer budget in the January window and tried to win the league. And if it backfired, at least you go in saying, you know what, we gave it all. We brought players in. What, Casado, you want money for it? Yep, splash the cash and splash the cash.
We had cash. Like we were in for Mudryk. They confirmed we made the bid. So we
Trossard was a great buy. Jorginho was a good buy for depth. Like it was one other guy.
Yeah,
I know it wasn't crazy backing, but they added depth to their squad. They weren't in all these competitions as well.
Yeah, but Robbie, okay, Martinelli, Saka, and Jesus was coming back in, yeah, and then you got Trossard. He found that difficult to manage all these 4 players up front, who's playing, what combinations, and then when Martinelli's doing well, he's taking him off, and when Jesus is not doing well, and maybe he should have put Trossard to start Trossard, he puts Jesus in, and that I don't know. I just think some combination he might have messed up on. But if you look at Saliba, he's gone out for the season. They can't win a game. So where was a just in case my defenders get injured? You're playing Rob Holding, and I'm not saying Rob Holdings did bad because he's had some good games, but it's just the depth in. All right, Party's gone. Who do we put there? Yes, Xhaka's doing well. This player's doing well. Odegaard's doing well. But there's no one really. You're looking over to your bench, and you got Vieira there that he's tried and it hasn't worked out. But if you got someone else, like let's just say, for example, Declan Rice is interested. Throw out $80 million in January, you probably win the league. You know what I mean? And that you get the money from the transfers. You win the league. Yeah, you win the league, the biggest prize of them all. And if you don't have that much to spend in the summer window, at least you already have the kind of the players, and plus you're going to get the revenue from winning the league. So I just think maybe, and I'm not saying if Declan Rice should have been the player, I'm just saying someone like him to fill these spots in, because when Xhaka's busting his ass every single game, he needs a break. And I know it's only one game a week, or he became 1 game a week. Still, man, like these players,
these games carry a mental load when you're pushing for a title.
Exactly.
Like, it's not the physical fatigue.
When Trossard came in, when Trossard came in, to me, it didn't look like he was playing with any sort of, we're going to win the league. He just came from Brighton. I'm just going to play my football. And whatever happens kind of thing. So you get some of them players who don't really think about the game. They're only coming in for a couple of months. Yeah. Or a couple of months for the rest of the season, kind of. Where the rest are drained, thinking of Manchester City. They're behind us. We can't drop a point here. We got the big win against United, big win like against your Spurs, the big rivals. We got the points here, and now it's just like we got to keep going. But at the same time, and I don't know if you guys have heard Troops. Troops said something about that he knows someone that's part of the dressing room staff, maybe a physio or something. And the Arsenal players were saying that the Arsenal players were kept thinking about City's form. Look at their form, instead of worrying about let's just get the job done like they've been doing all year. Like, and then to be 2-0 up against Liverpool, 2-0 up against West Ham, and then usually these games, all right, you lose the lead. How many times, even last season, and especially this season, the one team scores, Arsenal bang within a minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, they've replied, and then in another 5 minutes, they've got the lead again. Just something, I don't know what it was, man. It's just something there that turned off, a switch turned off. Again, I know I'm not saying Arteta out, but like in-game management has to be questioned at times.
Man.
But then again, the players as well, man. The players are on the field playing. Like, again, the mistake. Southampton in the first minute, Ramsdale was just passing the ball straight to them, and he's done. Did he do the same thing almost? He put someone in trouble this morning. Who did? Zinchenko, or it might have been a mistake.
Trossard.
Was it Trossard? Sorry, yeah. Again, like, just skip lines. It's some first minute, or like it's 0-0. It's you're still in the game, and it's just these marginal things, like that.
The little moments.
Them little moments. It's not like, to be honest, it's not like Arsenal this season have been horrible for a game, and then you're like, oh, we didn't deserve it. Maybe that Leeds game when you guys played Leeds, that was one of the worst games you played all season, but you just got the win. Southampton as well, I think you got the draw. I think it was.
We haven't beat Southampton this year, and they're relegated.
Yeah.
No, but the first time, not the draw.
We drew. We didn't beat them.
Yeah, the first time. But like games like that, it's like, all right, we got the point, even though maybe we didn't kind of deserve it. You could have drew that Leeds game as well, but that last minute penalty was denied. So like it was overturned. Sorry. So yeah, it's the moments again, and it's like, I know the positivity, how good you guys have been, how good.
I'm equal, positive, and disappointed. It's 50-50.
Coming to this point now, and it kind of feels like all that is kind of for nothing. But all you gotta hope is the players don't have that same mentality of, oh, we've done all this for no reason, and then they're going into next season and it's a complete capitulation, like the pressure from day one. You know what I mean? Like, why should we? I don't know. I don't know, man. It's. I've got the same mentality looking at Arsenal and thinking this was their chance, because I don't see them, like, do you know what I mean? I don't see them like coming here next season. But we said it about Arsenal this season about
that's right. Look, in terms of this question, I'll answer it quickly. Good season for Arsenal. Next season for me, my minimum expectation this year was Champions League. Next year, it's again Champions League. I want to start building up a pattern of consistency there, but I want a cup too. I want a cup. FA Cup, League Cup. Just bring me a cup. Because right now, Manchester United.
Champions League. I'll get that big one. Mickey Mouse ears. Get that one out of the way.
Stranger things have happened. Manchester United have won a cup this season. We haven't. So ultimately, we'll be remembered for being in a title challenge, but there's no cup. There's no cup for that. So
putting on the pressure cup.
That's it. I'd take the cup. That's a Tottenham thing, that one. Boys, brings me on to a question. I was listening to a lot of Premier League reactions and conversations, and I heard something on the radio, and someone was pretty much saying that the Premier League's becoming a farmers' league. It's Manchester City. Even when a team's got an 11-point lead on them, that's it. Now, in the last five seasons, City have won 4. When you add this one in, that's going to be 5 in the last 6 seasons. It's becoming now a little bit of a pattern. I don't think that the Premier League is a farmers' league. A farmers' league to me is, at the start of the season who's going to win it, and they should do it at a canter. City haven't done it at a canter. But I could certainly see a dynasty starting for Man City where maybe we get to a point and it's like, oh, maybe this is now just Man City's league and we're just all participants in it. Robbie, it's not a farmers' league, is it?
Definitely not. Definitely not for me. I think it's disrespectful to City, and I'm not that I'm gonna, be on their side, but it's like us, you
You're
look
a City fan.
13 titles for us. Like, was it a farmers' league back then too? No, there's always been at least 4 or 5 teams that are challenging. Now it's more. Went from your big 4 to big 6. Now you got people like Brentford and Brighton and Aston Villa that are coming alive and pushing, teams like, and it takes something like a Chelsea to have a bad season, or a Liverpool that was having a majority of the season that was bad. There's so many teams that can literally beat anyone, man. Like, relegated Southampton took points off you guys in a title challenge only a couple of weeks ago. Anyone can beat anyone. And I just think it's a credit to City. They've got the manager, they've got the players, they've got the funds, and they've got all the cards in their hand. They've played their cards right, and they're winning. And the winning is from their own success, from not just on a football pitch, but off the football pitch as well. So for me to say it's a Farmers League, I think it's, for me, a perfect example of the Farmers League is the La Liga. It's a 2-horse race every year. If you're lucky, you get a rare, Atletico Madrid might get one every 10 years in between Barca or Real Madrid. That's a Farmers League. The French league at the moment, since especially with PSG have been pumped with the money, I think they've won 9 out of the last 10. But the last 4 years in Serie A, you've had 4 new champions, man. And even when Juventus went on their big nine straight, for me, it was still a competitive league, even though they were the top 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, you could never say, okay, that's gonna. Every year you'd get like Atalanta's come up and push in Champions League or the 3rd, or you'd get Roma would have a push at Juventus. Napoli had a couple turns, so it's very up and down. Whoever has a good market, whoever has a good owner, whoever has all their cards in their hand. So it's the best league in the world, the Premier League. It's the most competitive, but you have to have all the cards in the right departments if you want success.
Butch.
Yeah, I kind of agree a lot what Robbie just said there. I don't think it is, because you look at, all right, the top of the table, yes, the team that's taking it out is probably similar, the same team. But you look at the teams below, you know what I mean? Like your Chelsea's, United, all right, we haven't been the best, but then even the Villas now, before you had Leicester, and Leicester was pushing in there for the last couple of seasons. They won the league then there was top 3, and then all right, top 4, maybe bottled the last couple of 2 seasons.
Even Spurs for a couple of years under Pochettino, like they had consistent. Right. When they were consistent Champions League team, they were they were a good team, to push again.
Yeah, and you look at some of the other leagues like the French league, the bottom teams are the bottom teams, and then even like you got your Marseilles, your Lyons, and all that. They used to be good, they're not there at the moment. But even them, like you look at the points difference, they're completely off the pace, and just the rest of the league is like completely rubbish, to be honest, like in terms of the football, the quality of the players and all that sort of stuff. And yeah, like Robbie said, it is the money. The Premier League, every team's got $1 billion owners. Do you know what I mean? They got, you get relegated, you get a massive parachute payment, and you go into the championship with big money. So in terms of the Farmers League of who wins it, yeah, all right. But in terms of the quality of the football, because I always thought, he's going to the Farmers League means that you're going to a shit league. You know what I mean? Now the Premier League is not a shit league. It's just the team that's winning it is the best in the world. It is what it is. But you look at La Liga, Barca, like you said, Barca, Madrid, Atletico, every now and then you have one season a Real Sociedad challenging, and then you're back on. And then where's Villarreal hasn't been up there since how long? But then the bottom teams, if you look at where they are, Sevilla's and all that sort of stuff, it's kind of like the teams are kind of mediocre. I reckon if they play someone like a Brighton, if they play someone like even a Brentford and like Villas and all that, it's a tight affair, I reckon, in my opinion. So mid-table teams in other leagues versus but the Premier League's mid-table teams, there's a bit of a contest, and that's why you see like West Ham in semi-finals of all right, it's a conference, but that's where majority of the mid-table teams are. So not a Farmers League to me. Yeah, maybe the team that wins it is dominating, but I wouldn't call the whole league a Farmers League or making it, because I always thought, he's going to a Farmers League. Like when Messi went to PSG, he's going to a Farmers League. He's going to a shit league. That's what it means to me. It doesn't mean just because there were teams winning. Is the Champions League a Farmers League if Real Madrid win it again this season?
Oh, look, it won't be next season, but it has been for the last maybe 7 years or so. But it's going to be good again next year, mate. It's going to be Europe's premier competition. Boys, were there any other results? Because I've got a couple of little quick fire topics I wanted to throw at you before we wrap it up. But were there any other matches or results from the Premier League that you wanted to quickly discuss?
Look, quick touch on Newcastle, because I think they always quick shout for them. Look, for us, it's good. We're on equal points with them now. I think for them to drop points is, you have to say again, Leeds, and another good crazy game. But I've seen a lot of things on Twitter with their kind of fans as well, man. Like people saying, if we bottle top 4, that's it's hard. You look at them like expectations versus reality with them as well. If they drop out of the top 4 for me, I'm going to say the bottle top 4 as well because they've been amazing season. I said from any kind of European, from 7th up, that's an amazing season. They've been in the top 4 for majority of the season. They haven't had the European football as well. That helps. But if they drop if the last day comes, because it's very tight between 3rd and 5th, which anything can happen between us, them, and Liverpool at the moment. If they drop out of 4th, I think a lot of them will be disappointed. At the end of the season, they'll be like, okay, we still got Europa League football. We've had an amazing season. We can build on this. But mate, they've had their Champions League like you guys had the title in their hands for a long time.
Yep.
So yeah, like it's the same thing for them. I think it's 2 big drop points for them, especially it was at home too. It was at Newcastle, if I believe right. I think it was.
No, it was at
Oh, was
Leeds.
that Leeds?
Yeah, it was.
I got mixed up. But still, 2 against Leeds in the form they've been in, they should be winning that. And yeah,
I'll be spewing.
100%. But besides that, man, I don't think there's any. I'm looking forward to the game tomorrow morning. To be honest, I'm really hoping Leicester does a bit of a trip for us.
So we only need 3 points, just another win. But I agree that the Leeds and Newcastle game was a bit of a cracker. I know it was saying Justin in the chat saying that bit of kick and chase, but when you're fighting for any sort of point, mate, knock it forward, get your that's right. But you know what? It was that Bamford again. Crucial penalty. He's missed another one. Mm-hmm. Someone else needs to step up, man, because he's missed another important one. I think it was last season when they needed a goal. I think he missed a pen, and then Rafinha saved them on the last day. But it's going to be interesting to see who goes down as well because
Saints are down.
Botch, do me a favor when you get 5 minutes. Go to our season preview. I said Saints to go down in your
man, you said I said Southampton as well, but I also wanted Brighton and Brentford to go down too. And
I want Brighton to go down too.
They both smashed us. They both gave it to us. That's why I want them out of the league. But other than that, I do think I agree with Robbie about Newcastle. If they don't, even with United, if we don't,
I think for both of you, it's a bottom. What if you want to use that term?
I said a couple of weeks ago, if we lost top 4 to Liverpool or Chelsea when they were both like sitting next to each other, I would have said, that's a bottle. And because Spurs were closer, if we lost at the Spurs, I would have been like, all right, we were 4 points and we lost top 4. But to drop out of the top 4 to Liverpool after being like 11 points clear of them,
13, I think at one point,
13 maybe at one point would be absolutely disappointing. And I don't know. I'm hoping the players don't show their true colors of throwing the manager under the bus and actually like just getting the job done, and hopefully Leicester help us out tomorrow and get some sort of result to make the next couple of games a little bit easier so we can rest a few players for the drubbing against City in the final.
Easy. Boys, I just want to chuck this one at you. It's a bit of a quick fire. Is this football thing? I saw this footage of the Milan Ultras pretty much giving it to the managers and the manager and the players after a defeat. Is this football thing, Robbie?
I know what you think about it, but for me, I
tweeted it out. I mean, it was no secret.
I'm okay with it. Like I said, I agree with your point. I don't think they're really going to give a shit, but I'm all for it. I like that whole the connection between the fans and the players, and especially their ultras. They're there, no matter what. So yeah, if they want to say something, why not? It doesn't bother me.
Borch, is it a football thing?
Absolutely. Some of these players need to get are talking to. There's some leagues where they'll go to your training ground and they'll take your kits off because you're not fit to wear the shirt. And it's true. Some of these players, they get paid all this money, and yes, whether they deserve it or not, they get paid what they get paid. But who they lose to? They lost to a relegation team, didn't they?
I think it was Udinese or Spezia.
So they're like, come on, and you're fighting for Champions League spots, Europa League spots. You could even drop out of that. And you look at some of the like Premier League teams, like when United don't make top 4 and all that. Yeah, you're not fit to wear the shirt. That you need to. Half of them walk straight off the pitch and don't even apologize to the fans for any sort of like bad performances. You know what I mean? Yeah, you can apologize on your Twitter and all that sort of stuff, but really go to your fans and apologize like this properly, and then go get a talking to, because not people don't come out, spend money to watch you guys play, and you put on a performance, especially like to relegation battling teams. Like Arsenal should have done this to when they drew to Southampton. It's sometimes it's not acceptable. For me, it's a football thing.
Yeah,
For
just
me,
quickly,
it's not.
Scotty, before you jump in, I think there is a little bit more backstory. It's not just a one-off because they lost to relegation.
No,
It's
this
more-
has happened more than once, though. This isn't
No,
new.
but this is because they're saying, like, I don't know if you've seen, there was another video today at the training ground, and like they've got their whole curva there, like at the flares at the training support. They've got the second leg coming up against obviously Inter in 2 days' time in the Champions League. It's more saying, okay, yeah, we're stuffed up, we've lost to relegation, get your heads back up, and we got to go again in the Champions League semi-final. I think that's more of what it was.
Look, for me, absolutely not a football thing, mate. You're a fan, rock up, watch the game, let the players play.
But
I just think it's a bit of. I think it's entitled, man. I think it's
not
entitled
because, like I'm telling you, when I went to the preseason, when United were here, like I get the whole signing of autographs and all that thing. People, they're your heroes. They're your heroes. Yeah, but like if you're doing it for the financial side, cool. You know what I mean? But these are the same players that threw the manager under the bus, and then they threw Ralph under the bus again. And you think they care? They go out there, they just lose. Even the last game of the season, if West Ham didn't lose, we'll be playing Conference League. Like they couldn't even win it for the fans on the last day. And like, what do you expect? Yeah, none of you are fit to wear the shirt. None of them. And like,
if you had the opportunity to mouth your thoughts to the, they said, okay, hey, we're going to get a select amount of fans. Scott, you're one of them. We're going to get the team. Like, just say it was a conference night or something like that. And you can have your 2 cents of what you think, what went wrong with the team or what this and that. Whatever you speak your mind, would you not do it?
Of course, I'll tell them the truth.
So it's the same thing.
I'll tell them the truth. But ultimately, they're going because I know if they don't, they're going to get their training ground ripped up or whatever. What these fans are? These fans are the Karens of football, mate. They're asking to see the manager because they're not happy with the service. I just think with football,
100%.
Man, we've got to, and I see this with this. I don't want to go down the whole boycott destination New South Wales thing, but I see this a lot with like just football Twitter, man. It's a sense of entitlement. Like fans think they own the place. You don't, right? There's some days I go to work and I have a shit day and maybe I don't do my job as well as I could. I don't want people there like queuing up at my car wanting to tell me this, that. I don't know. I think the players know they've had a crap game. They don't need to be lectured by a bunch of blokes that, just turn up and support or go do something else if it makes you that unhappy. I don't know.
If you keep marking my homework wrong and you keep giving me B's, I'm knocking on your window on the way out, mate, saying, hey, remark it.
That's because your parents cash the good checks. That's the only reason I give you B's, man.
Look, I agree what you say in a way there, but at the same time, man, like some of these players,
it's the culture is different there too.
Yeah, I don't like. They don't really care. Like, you look at Chelsea. We haven't spoke about Chelsea, but you look at their whole scenario, and it's like, at least the players can go out there and put a performance, but week in and week out, it just feels like they're on the beach already. And if a fan wants to say something to him, then yeah, like there was that one fan or group of fans that said something to Pogba on the last day of the season. You know what I mean? And they were full giving him an earful, and I'm like, and then he's asking questions why. I'm like, bro, like in the last 3 seasons at the club, you were only available for 50%. Like, can't even, and look at him now, he's injured again because you can't. His body's crumbling, yeah, and bro. We're not putting in the performances. Look after yourself. And then when it was at United, obviously the abuse is, it's another level. But when you get an earful, hey, sometimes the players deserve it. I remember when they used to Arsenal fans were giving it to like
Wenger used to cop it.
Not Wenger, but some of the players like, you're not fit to wear the shirt and stuff at the game. Do you know what I mean?
I'll never forget when Emmanuel Bowie walked off in tears because when he got subbed on, I don't know if you boys remember this, Wenger subbed a Bowie on. He had a stinker, like it was a stinker for the ages. And then he ended up getting subbed off with like 5 minutes to go, and every fan in the stadium was cheering. He just burst into tears, man. That hit me right in the feels, boys. Hit me right in the feels. But
yeah, but you know what, man? Like let's just say that happens to Harry Maguire, someone like that. You know what I mean? Do you know what I mean? You get subbed on and you get taken back off because you're not performing. Yeah, you're not performing. You're the captain of the club. Pull your head in. Like we expect performances from the players. If it was a Garnacho, for example, or a bloody Malasia, you kind of give them ones a little bit of a slide. You know what I mean? All right, they're young, they're whatever. But your experienced players, what do you think Bruno cops it every single week? Because you pull your head
He
in.
deserves it though, mate. He's
Yeah, but there you
crap,
go.
mate.
Like, that's what I mean. Like pull your head in, and all these Rashford, doesn't perform one game, is rubbish. Trashford, we'll put it in every, and this is what pisses me off about my United players is everyone that signs, they sit there in their MUTV interview and they're like, I'm here to win trophies. The fans deserve trophies. But then you go to in the Europa League final and you completely capitulate. And then every single cup final you lose, and you probably lose this one now as well. Yeah, well, show us your trophy cabinet. Yeah, Bruno Fernandes rocks up. I want to win trophies. Well, win trophies. Your goals and assists don't mean
one's
anything.
stopping you.
You can't. Your goals and assists don't mean anything. Yeah, your records if you don't add trophies to that. I'm sorry, but if we're gonna lose this final, yeah, all right. You take a stepping stone. Ten Hag's first season, you got a Carabao Cup. Next season, there needs to be more trophies added. And I'm not just saying just keep winning the Carabao Cup. Add another one. Higher in the league, higher in your league position. You better get Champions League this season, or some of these players. I'm telling you, they need to have a good look at themselves. To be honest.
Boys, it's been excellent chat. I haven't tagged the football capital in the comments below the live video now, but I will do it straight after the stream. So if you're watching this back, make sure you give them a follow. But I dare say most of the people who are watching us are watching you because you're a good friend of the show. We love having you and we appreciate you stepping in. When are you dropping your next vid, Butch?
We're going to record one tomorrow, so maybe Wednesday.
Is this with my man, Aussie Gunner?
Yeah. So he's in a day of mourning at the moment, so we'll give him a
always
day
the
off today. We'll give him a day off. And plus, I got the call up on it. It's a football thing, so we have to push it a little bit.
Do you want me to drop off the pink Arsenal kit for you? You can put it on the Aussie Gunner.
I don't know. We said we did say if Arsenal win the league, he has to wear it, and it was so close. It's Steve's fault. It's his fault that didn't pull through.
He put the juju on us, the curse. Robbie, been a pleasure, mate. Got anything big happen in the next few days, or just rest and relaxation?
Right, that's it. Rest and relaxation. Watch sit back and hopefully watch Leicester do a job. Hopefully Roma do a job for us. But I don't see it, to be honest, on both accounts. But look, it's football, anything can happen. Just quickly, I can see Justin put Poch to Chelsea really last. Quick fire, boys.
Will he last all of next season?
And we'll say the season. Yeah, will he last the season?
Yes, Poch will last next season at Chelsea. I think he'll do a much better job with them. I'm a bit nervous about him coming in. He's a good manager.
I agree as well. There you go.
Usually Scotty's on the ball when it comes to Chelsea stuff. He said Tuchel out early doors, and he was out.
I'm proper Chelsea, mate.
Stuff. You go, look, he gave him benefit of the doubt. I think he said probably won't make top 4, but he was
proper Chelsea. I said Tuchel out, and I said that Graham Potter wouldn't last the season. I was right on both.
You said top 4. They won't make top 4.
Well,
you got to clip that one.
I'm not just here for my good looks. I'm here for what's in here, man. Anyway, gentlemen, on that note, these studs are leaving you for the evening. Take care, everyone. Enjoy your football. Look after each other. See you later.
Ciao.